actually pretty tight. All right, so that's the basic structure of the seizing. Now you can see good and tight. I'm now going to put the fraps on. And I'm going to go ahead and just drive a actually, where am I wiping? So then I'll take a Marlin spike, drive it in here, kind of open this up, and I keep just some small oak wedges around that I use when I'm doing a lot of seizings, because it'll help me open that up, and I'll be able to pass my turns. So I'll bring my hard thing to pull up. It's a little tight. There we go. Hopefully it'll pass now. Stick a loop through there. Sometimes it's a little hard to get it through there, sometimes it'll go every time. There we go. Okay. I think I have it now. And when I cut that off, you'll notice it didn't spring, it just cut dead. And that's because the seizing had all the weight. I had used this to hold it together, and then when I snipped it, it just fell off dead. And that's really, if you're holding it up with a piece of twine, that's what you want to happen. You don't want the twine to pop, because if it does, you haven't gotten the seizing on there tight enough or far enough up. Okay, so there's your first turn. I'll throw a pulling loop in here. Now, when I say that, I don't like using a Marlin spike to try and spike these on, the thing is I have several times broken like this 1/4 inch with the heaver if I had just pulled it a little too hard, but you can see I've wrung it right out. And the nice thing is with like the polyester that I'm using now, or say if you're doing smaller seizings and you're using nylon seine twine, you want to really suspend this stuff in tension. So I have that. That's my first pass. Come on. Go through there. You know you want to go through there. Another pulling loop. So I get this loop through here. It's always the little tedious things that take time, you know? There we go. Now we're going. So that's my first loop set. My first frapping turn's in. I'm going to set this frapping turn real fast, hard. And when it sets in here, so I'll often take and turn away this way to get, because I'm pulling down this side of it. And I want to pull that straight under there. And I'll pull that down. And you can see how much I got on that. Then I'll turn my heaver around and then I'll roll it up onto the seizing, and then I'm biting everything in there real hard. I get my thumb against it. I get my turn in here. With my other pulling loop. And now that that's in there, I'll come back up through here. I'll do the same thing. I'll turn away from it to get as much on it as I can without jamming it against itself. See how I get that one's super tight, this one's coming on. You see it move. Okay. Okay, and now that I've got it real tight like that, what I'll do is I'll take, again, turn my heaver over and kind of use that to wedge it right in here. So it takes a lot less to hold it so it doesn't want to spring back. So I've got hold of it with this one. I've got my first pulling loop, which pulls from the middle out to tie my flat knot. And again, I'll do that so it's real short. Put my heaver on it. Use my heaver to pop it through. So I have it to there, but so if I pull this under, it's just going to do funky things with the twist of it, and I want it to stay kind of nice through my next pull. So I'll often take that off, take this, open it up, and just kind of pull this through. Don't want to hit the camera, man. There we go. Normally I'd pull way back here, but that's my first loop off. And I'll put my heaver back on. And one thing, when I was growing up, I tried to make them look like Ashley's, and it hadn't occurred to me that he could draw them a lot fairer than it's, you know, always practical to put them on. But I kind of figured out how to do it, because if you look at this, it'll look a lot like one right out of Ashley's. One of the things I do is I make sure that when I put my first tuck in here, is I make sure I pull it down super hard, but I also want to make sure I roll it so it's over the lip here on the seizing. And sometimes you got to kind of back out and pull down, and that gets it locked in there. It's super trapped so it can't back up. And so now this one pulls back into the middle, and this is the other half of your flat knot. So I'll pull that up to there. Take my heaver. I get that kind of that far through because it gets pretty tight in here, so you want to make sure that you can kind of roll this all through here because it's pretty tight. Sometimes a little bit of trouble getting it to go through there. There it goes. So that's pulled through. Go ahead and pull it that far. I usually push it back down through the work. Grab my heaver. Spin it up, and you can see it'll just pull down. Just like that. And you can see it, you can't really move it even with a marlin spike. I mean, it's on there. I'll bring it back up. Set it one more time. So it pulls right there. Oh, yep, that's set. And some people tie a knot in here. I don't generally tie a knot in here. What I'll do with this is I'll put a little piece of tape on here and cut it off. And then once the coating has set in it and is good and dry, I'll just cut it off and make a little tassel. That's kind of what I was always taught to do. I was told when I was growing up, when I started doing this, that if I needed to put a knot in it to keep the flat knot in there, I probably shouldn't be in the seizing business. So this is pretty rugged. I don't think that's going anywhere. So thank you.